sitting at the table with his boots crossed at the ankles, very irreverent,
Uh-huh.
and his leather jackets. And he just gave this little grin and he said, I'll be here when you're ready.
Intergalactic beings of multi-dimensional realities. Welcome to Channeling.
Today, my guest is Kristi Avalon, the well-known author of the Billionaire Bodyguard series, Romance at its Best. Kristi, welcome. Welcome to Channeling.
Thank you. Thank you, Gwen. I am so happy to be here with you.
I am so happy you're here too. We connected just over a year ago when I was writing my book and you stepped in as my editor, and I was so grateful. We have a whole story behind that, which I'll share at another time. But it included guides, and since we're doing channeling today, since we're in Welcome to Channeling, it is pertinent in that effect, but we wanted to talk about something even more exciting, perhaps, and that is writing romance and what you love about it. And so I wanted to jump in today and talk about how you started writing romance and what was your draw.
Interesting question. I might have had a bit of an unconventional beginning to my writing. My mom was very much into the spiritualist religion, and I kind of went along on the ride with her. It was so interesting. And one of the places that we used to love to go was Lilydale, New York. And it's a lovely little spiritualist community. And I had my first medium reading, and she told me about a past life where I was in the 1920s. And the one of the people who ended up becoming my guide in this life, if you will, he and I had a connection there. And I've always loved the 1920s. One of my favorite books is The Great Gatsby, of course. And I really was drawn to the idea of writing a love story set in the 1920s. So I was 17 years old and decided that I was going to write novels. And I didn't know how, and I didn't know why that passion was such a calling to me, but it sure was. And that book never saw the light of day. It's in paper form and computer form in a drawer or in some recycled computer parts place somewhere in this world. And yes, never to be seen again. But I learned so much from that. And from there, I realized, well, I should probably, since this is really a love story, I should probably figure out where that would fit in the market. So I picked up my first true romance novel when I was 21, and it was Lisa Kleypas, Where Dreams Begin. It's a historical, and I was swept away. I absolutely loved it. And that was the beginning of my adventures in romance writing. And I did have an agent in New York for a time, for about a year. And she and we tried to shop the Billionaire Bodyguard around to a couple of different places, and it just wasn't catching anywhere. So we parted ways, and I decided to try self-publishing at the end of 2012. And wow, talk about luck and timing.
Yeah.
Self-publishing was really taking off. And that book was released at the same time as another very well-known self-published author. And who bought this, bought that, and algorithms did their magic. And that book went to the top 10 of the Barnes and Noble bestseller list. And that, boy, was that an amazing experience that I will never forget. It was very special. Anyway, I've still been very thrilled and privileged to continue writing the Billionaire Bodyguard series throughout the years. Also, working the day job and putting out about a book a year, and that's been just the light of my life. It's my passion. And
I know that another one's coming up soon that you're releasing. So tell us about that one really quick before we jump on into a really interesting topic that you and I have.
Yes, and just to hint on that topic, we are going to be talking about the reasons why we love bad boys.
Bad
Particularly,
boys.
especially in fiction, maybe not so much in real life, but absolutely in fiction. So this book is truly the book of my heart. It is a book that has lived with me for a very long time. It's called The Billionaires Dare. And this hero, this bad boy hero, has been with me for a very long time. Do you mind if I share?
Oh, I want you to share this story so badly. Yes. We're here talking about channeling and what it can be for us in our lives. And as writers, when we start writing, we enter into a whole new world. And oftentimes these characters come to us. They want to be expressed. And it's like it's not like we're like working hard to create them. It's like we're discovering them while we do it. And I want to hear your story, or I want you to tell everyone your story of this bad boy.
This bad boy. this guy, he chose me to tell his story. And boy, when I first got started in writing in my 20s, I had this dream. And I saw a collection of course, handsome men seated around this dining room table in a Victorian mansion. And as I as I walk toward the table, I recognize a lot of their faces. They're books that I was working on, or knew that I wanted to work on, or were works in progress. And I saw them and recognized them, and that was really intriguing. Like, oh my gosh, they came to me. That was really interesting. Like, not just their intuited and downloaded, channeled, however you might want to say, their stories came to me through the muse, whatever that may be. I noticed all of them, and there was this one guy sitting at the table with his boots crossed at the ankles, very irreverent, and his leather jackets. And he had long, wavy, dark hair about to his shoulders, and these incredible piercing green eyes. And yeah, that had some impact.
Language. Oh, green eyes.
Oh, that had some impact for sure. And he turned those piercing green eyes to me, and he just gave this little grin, and he said, "I'll be here when you're ready." And all these years later, I finally had a chance over a good long stretch of time to write his story and rewrite it and rewrite it and edit it some more, until I knew that he would approve, that he was ready, that this book it was time to share him with the world. So Adam Soren is the hero of The Billionaires Dare. And he is my bad boy hero that I am very excited to bring to readers.
Well, I am so excited to read about this bad boy when this comes out. I was going to ask you, what are some of your bad boy crushes? Have you had crushes on these bad boys before? Like, what are some of them?
Oh, wonderful question. Mostly from the movies and books to an extent. My first bad boy crush was embodied by Harrison Ford in Han Solo. That
Mm-hmm.
was my first bad boy crush, followed closely behind when I was, 10 years old and saw Indiana Jones.
You know
And
what? I have to talk about Han Solo. And the reason why I really call him a bad boy or consider him a bad boy was when Princess Leia told him, "I love you," and he says, "I know."
I
I mean,
know.
I mean, that's the ultimate thing that
Ultimate.
a bad boy can say something that no one else will say, right?
Yes. Yes, that is what's so appealing about bad boys. They they have, I think my favorite thing about bad boys is that they are fearless.
Hmm.
And that fearlessness is so appealing because there's so many things in this world that can knock us off course and make us question things. And those bad boys have they give no fucks. They
Yeah.
love a challenge. They are strong, they're powerful, they're irreverent.
Hmm.
They don't care what anyone thinks, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And you just deal with it or like it or just move right along.
You know, I know I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's so funny because once upon a time, a few years ago, I would consider that I had a bad boy boyfriend. Never thought I would in my whole life. But it was so interesting because even though he would go in the company of other people and he would say stuff that was so irreverent and like crude, really, in
Uh,
some perspectives, I would look at him and I was just so amused that he was
mhm.
that daring. And
Daring, yes.
yeah, it just thrilled me to no end. Um, we didn't last that long, but when we
We
were
usually
together,
don't in real life.
yeah, but when we were together, it was something that actually helped me pull out my voice more. It
Mhm.
was really, really fabulous to say,
I love that.
it's okay. We can walk around and you're going to survive and it's going to be okay. If
No,
you say
I
something,
actually I really love that because I think one of the things that reading about bad boys does is it gives us the freedom to like live vicariously
mhm,
and kind of tap into those qualities that make bad boys so appealing. When it comes to, pretend romance, not pretend, but
mhm,
fictional bad
yeah,
boys, is that they sort of like if you think back to a great warrior bad boy from Greek mythology, Achilles.
mhm,
He was brave and fearless and this incredible, phenomenal warrior. He had one chink in
mhm,
his proverbial armor
mhm.
and, his Achilles heel. And of course, in romance, the Achilles heel ends up being the woman that they fall for, despite their best efforts. And I think
Yeah.
that's like that's just so appealing and romantic to think
Mhm.
that, this one person in the whole world can make a difference and touch that chink in the armor and capture his heart.
Yeah, yeah.
And that
That
definitely
is
happens in the Billionaires Dare. That is a really, I've
oh, there you
explored
go.
that. It's thoroughly in that book. And it was very endearing to watch Adam's transformation as he
Oh,
let
sweet.
go of some of his harder aspects and fell in love.
There you go. That's how it works with romance novels. If you're expecting something different, don't read.
Absolutely. That's what you get.
That's what you
But
get.
that's not to say that, it's not a mystery that the hero and heroine are going to fall in love. What
Yeah.
we love about romance is being on the journey of these two people as they learn and grow and change and find things that they need to improve and things that they want to improve and take risks with their hearts and figure out how to make love work.
That's beautiful. I'm a big love person. I love love. And I know you love love. This is
Obviously.
part of your mission, isn't it? Is
Yes.
kind of speaking these words of love and opening people to love. I talked about it with you maybe a week and a half ago, but please share what that feeling is for you, like what you're hoping for people, why you write romance.
Oh, I write romance to touch hearts,
Yeah.
to open hearts, to reach people that may be going through a hard time or just want to connect with that feeling of falling in love. And when you get to watch those things play out through the pages of a book, and you get to go on this amazing romantic journey,
Mhm.
it's really heartening. And I love bringing that to readers, to the world.
Oh, that's perfect. Can you give us an example of how being a bad boy shows up in your newest story?
So in the Billionaires Dare, Adam is really closed off from everyone. And the dare comes in when he is approached by a friend slash colleague. And this friend kind of lays a dare on him and suggests that he seek the help of a lovely tutor who will help him overcome his severe dyslexia.
Mm,
So he's been battling this his whole life. He inherited that, and I don't want to misspeak because I can't say if things are inherited or not with regard to traits like dyslexia. In this case, his father suffered from it and he suffered from it. And he learned that he wasn't going to be helped in school. So he drops out and becomes a bounty hunter with his family's business. They're bail bonds and bounty hunters, and that's
wow.
their history. And so he learned to use his fists and his brawn and his might to track down murderers and all kinds of, oh, dare I say, low lives of society
Mhm.
who um, skipped out on their bail. And that was his beginnings of life. Was he was the heavy, he was the bruiser, and part of him never really got over the way that his father turned him into the kind of man
Mhm.
who could chase down criminals, that hard human, any softness that was in him, his father uh, mentally and physically abused out of him.
Yeah.
So by the time he transitions into corporate America with his two cousins and a brother, who are all part of the Billionaire Bodyguard series,
Mm.
he's he's still a bit of a lost soul. And he finally takes on this dare. He finds the strength and the bravery in himself to to do it. He's also an alpha male and a sore loser and doesn't want to won't back down from a dare. But
Mhm.
through his own internal vulnerability and bravery is how he comes to terms with his past and how he learns how to break down those walls and let love in.
Oh, that's sweet. As you're describing this, I'm thinking to myself, sometimes the most daring thing is having a soft side too, is having
Oh,
a heart, is letting go of all those programs. And so I'm already clapping for him.
you know, Romeo was a bad boy. He was roaming around the streets with a gang, and and yet he had that soft side of him that was clearly going to do anything for love.
Mm-hmm.
And that devotion of someone who's so powerful and charismatic and badass. I think that there's still that appeal that you can be that chink in the armor. And there's so many great bad boys in history, you know, in lore, in mythology,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a rope here and mention that this might ruffle a few feathers, but one of my favorite bad boys from literature, and by the way, I just have to say that I have my master's degree in English, so my background is in literature. One of my favorite bad boys is Satan in Paradise Lost.
Ooh, you went all the way. Oh yeah.
He is ridiculously charismatic.
Mhm.
I wrote a 16-page paper in Dr. Maroney's grad class about how in Milton or Milton class about how Shakespeare how Satan was by far the best and most compelling character in that entire epic poem. And you know, those bad boys.
That's so
There's
great. That's so great. I'm going to I'm thinking about what are my bad boys that I just really cling to. And, you know, when I was a teenager, interestingly enough, I saw River Phoenix as a bad boy,
oh yeah, I can
and
see that.
he ended up leaving this life. But
Yeah.
he was kind of one of my he was one of my he was my bad boy crush at that point in time. And
So
so yeah,
what do you find appealing about those bad boys and reading romances and what is so what draws you to love a good bad boy?
oh, good question. I think it's changed over the years,
Hmm.
but I think there's almost this sense that a bad boy knows how to love hard,
Oh,
you know? Like
brilliant.
like when he sees something, he really sees it and he's not afraid to
Mm,
really see it. And
mm,
you know, that's kind of my love language. Even though it's considered words of affirmation, it's like
yeah.
really about I really know you. I really
Mm.
see you. I really get you. And so I think that's really quite alluring for me in a bad boy.
That's sexy. When
It's like,
someone sees you and gets you and is fearless in there with you,
yeah, it's like,
that's about
don't,
as hot as you can get.
yeah, I mean, don't you worry that you know, you have some hard places that you visit in you. I'm ready to go there and go beyond them and come out the other end dragging it with me. You know, that kind of idea. I mean, like, whoo, yes.
Yeah, right. Woo. Yes, please.
Exactly. You know, he's not going to be running away. He's going to say, yeah, I'll look that in the eye. And that's cool. We'll get out of it together. So I think that's the most alluring thing about a bad boy for me.
I
Right.
love that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking there was another bad boy that really came to mind. And as I'm trying to think of this, whoever's watching, tell us what your bad boy is, what your
Yeah.
favorite bad boys are.
I'd love to hear that. Yes, it's always great getting people's perspectives on, you know, what they appreciate, you know, what their bad boy crush was.
Yeah, yeah, so sweet. Well, as we're doing this, I'm thinking of something that I want to try out with you, and I hope you're down for it. I've been trained in a technique called Big Mind, and it's a type of kind of like a talk therapy or voice therapy, but it's where you get to talk to different aspects within you, right? And I think this might be really enlightening for people out there. If you have still a resistance to the idea of a bad boy or you really love them, it might be enlightening to be in this archetype within yourself and allow it to speak and see what kind of wisdom it has for you. Are you down, Kristi?
I'm down. I don't really know much about this, but oh yeah, I'm totally down.
All right, this is what soul play is all about, right? Um, and I'm just thinking of the term like bad behavior for some reason. Like I'm okay, I'm willing to have bad behavior within me, like what's considered bad behavior. And as we explore this archetype, I just want you to, I'm going to pretend, I'm going to be the facilitator. Here I am, facilitator. Oh. And I'm simply going to just address you and say who I want to speak to, right? And then you just simply shift in your chair from Kristi, the Kristi playing the duality that's happening right here. And you're just simply going to be accessing a certain aspect of yourself and allowing it to voice, right? Just like you would access the controller in you or the writer or the editor. You know how to play these roles, right? But
Sure.
now we're going to just simply access a bad boy in you, okay? Ooh, this is going to be exciting.
This is interesting.
Yeah, and as you sit and you just adjust and be the bad boy, I'll say, who am I speaking to? And you'll reply, I'm the bad boy, or whatever the bad boy wants to say, or whatever. We'll try to keep it PG-13, but
Right.
yes, but he can say whatever he wants to say. And the more you sit with this aspect, the more you'll start feeling shifts and wisdom and things come out. And I'll just ask you some questions and you can share with me too. Does that sound fun?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Do I have to close my eyes or do
You can
anything?
close your eyes for a minute if you want, whatever works best for you. Um, I found when I did it, it was really simple to just kind of shift and kind of realign myself and say, okay, I'm the bad boy, and just allow it to come forward. All right. And I feel like you can do this, Kristi, because you've been channeling, you know what's happening. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I suppose writing in a way is kind of a form of channeling.
Yep, it is. So we're going to sit now together and let's just take 3 deep breaths, breathing in and out. And as you breathe out, feel the energy flow down from your tailbone down into the earth. And you feel center to your core, breathing in and down and centered into your core. You are entering into a space that is open where anything is possible. Perfect. I'm going to acknowledge these many thousands of aspects of you, Kristi, many aspects that are here that help make your life so beautiful. But we want to pull forward one simple aspect, one archetype, one voice. I like to invite forward the voice of the bad boy. Please come forward. Who am I speaking with now?
The inner wannabe bad boy of Kristi.
Oh, the wannabe bad boy. See, oh, I get it. So Kristi has a wannabe bad boy. Are we going to be daring enough to go to the bad boy? I'm going to ask Kristi's controller. We're going to make a switch here. I would like to speak to the controller. Who am I speaking with now?
Evidently the controller.
Oh, hello, controller. You are the controller. I can tell you are. So, controller, is there some hesitancy or reason why you wouldn't like to have access to really have Kristi inhabit her bad boy? Is there any danger you feel?
There is danger because growing up, there wasn't the ability to be seen or known in truth. There was a character of the nice girl that had to be played, especially with the parents who provided, to the extent that they did or could, the safety that she needed, or at least the food, clothing, and shelter, if not the emotional support that she needed to survive.
And you've helped her, helped align her and play out that role really well, right? What role was that again? Was it a good girl or the
good girl?
good
Yes,
girl?
don't make waves. Don't be seen too much. Don't be a nuisance. Don't be noticed. Glide under the radar so that the people around you who are really unable to give you the love and care that you need don't feel bad about how they're failing.
Wow. This is amazing, amazing wisdom that's being shared, truth that's being shared through the controller, right? As a controller, a part of what you're doing is trying to help create peace.
Yes.
And part of that is you don't want people to feel deeply, profoundly how they might be not living up to their potential, right?
And, friction.
No friction. Yeah.
No friction. Not allowed. Don't speak your mind. Don't be acknowledged.
Right. Perfect. Well, I appreciate you, controller, and all that you've done for Kristi in her life. You have helped her to live a life and feel protected in these ways, right? Is there a way that you, as the controller, can see the benefit that Kristi has had by writing about bad boys?
Oh, yes.
What are those benefits that you see as the controller in her life?
She gets to explore what it would feel like to not suppress, to live out loud, boldly, outlandishly, bravely, without fear of reprisal or abandonment.
Yeah. And is this a way that she gets to do it where in real life, quote unquote, she isn't going to get in trouble per se?
Oh, absolutely. The good girl does not get in trouble. The bad boy welcomes it. How can I challenge the status quo? And the good girl never challenges the status quo. She's got to make sure everyone is all right.
Well, I think this is interesting, controller, because even though you set parameters around her really expressing a lot as the good girl, you also have been encouraging her and providing her a way to experience this other aspect of herself, but in a way that she's not going to get in trouble with, right?
Right.
Right. And so as a controller, do you see inherently an issue with this aspect called the bad boy?
How do you care without caring?
Oh,
How
so
do you keep an open heart and have a great deal of love for people and yet not care what they think and be able to self-express in a way that doesn't always have to consider the feelings of everyone else?
what I feel like I'm hearing is a maturation of the voice of the controller, it being you being aware of love and you being aware of trying to see how you can allow her to be who she really is, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. So right now, what I would like to do is offer you as the controller, I'm going to ask you a favor because you're doing really amazingly. Would you be willing to help kind of hold back other aspects that might block her from spending just a few moments being able to speak as the bad boy? Do you feel this would be a safe way that she could inhabit more of herself right now?
I think so.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to ask you to do so. And when we're done, don't worry. We'll let you bring everything back to whatever feels like it's the perfect combination of what Kristi should, be enacting in her life. So controller, would you be willing to hold back these other aspects that would perhaps like to stop Kristi from expressing as the bad boy?
Okay.
Perfect. I love that. All right. Thank you so much for your assistance. We could not do this without you, literally. So thank you. All right, Kristi, I'm talking to you. And now I would like to speak to the bad boy. Go
The
ahead
bad
and
boy would like to speak to you.
Well, hello, bad boy. Who am I speaking to?
The bad boy.
The bad boy. Hello, bad boy. I've been waiting to talk to you for a while. Tell me about you as the bad boy. Have you been able to voice lately?
This is fun. This is fun to express and have this aspect shown and allowed.
So let's go ahead and make sure you're speaking in first person. Say, I'm excited that I'm allowed, or however you want to express that, bad boy, because I know it's been hard for Kristi to be able to say it and just allow you to have a voice through her.
I get why I wasn't allowed to hold a bigger space. And there are some really great things happening in her life that she can trust me and she can find that courage and that power to
Nice.
say what she needs.
Yeah. So this is one thing that you offer her. Tell me, what do you offer Kristi? How can you be a support in her life?
I remind her that she doesn't have to settle.
Oh, yes. Yes. How do you say that to her? I mean, what would you say to say, you don't have to settle, woman? When she
Yeah.
goes out on a date with a guy that's just not quite right for her?
Hey, you don't have to settle.
Yeah.
They are fortunate to have the opportunity to be in a space with you, with her.
Perfect.
And whatever comes out of that is fine. And they're going to have their stuff that they bring to the table. And she needs to make sure that it's what she wants.
Yeah. And as a bad boy, you can help her be more clear on that. Is that right?
Some boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Ooh, I want to hear more about these boundaries. They're giving me shivers. Tell me about these boundaries, bad boy.
She's learning.
She's learning. Oh, I love that response. Is you just got this attitude. See, isn't that great? See, one thing about bad boys is they don't have to tell you what they aren't ready to tell you.
Boundaries.
So it's good to be around you, bad boy. That's a good boundary there, right? I'm guessing that you've showed up in her life in a few ways. Can you tell me a few of the highlights I'm curious because I think that you found a way to sneak into her life and really have some effect.
I did. Last year, I encouraged her to go on 6 vacations
Wow.
by herself, that she'd be safe and she'd be brave and she would have an amazing time. And she didn't need anyone to hold that space with her. She held that space all her own.
Oh, nice. That's a really great example. Tell me another one. Do you have any in mind?
A recent situation where it wasn't what she really wanted. And
Mm,
she saw the signs and allowed them to guide the way and stood up for herself and said, this isn't in the alignment with what I need.
perfect. I love that. Right now, we're in a creative space with you, a lovely badass man, or I guess you could say just bad boy. And in that in that creative space, I think it's an exciting idea that you maybe have a way that you can get her attention. Maybe we could come up with an idea right now, a way that kind of signals her to maybe listen into you in some way. Is there some way that you can think that that you could do that, or that she could allow that in? It might be a signal, it might be words, a phrase, something that she notices. Is there something that you can think of that maybe will help her hear you even better in her life?
I think that there can be a phrase
Nice.
along the lines of be you. It's okay to be you
Good.
and not apologize to anyone for being you.
And that's good. So be you. You don't need to apologize. So whenever Kristi hears these words,
Mm.
now she can identify the alignment and say,
Mhm.
oh, that's my bad boy who knows my boundaries and knows and is looking out for me, right? That bad boy who's also courageous and says, just be you and don't be afraid, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Well,
I'm
it's
he went away.
yes, yes, he
He just
did.
left.
I almost said, see you later.
He's gone. He's
I
like,
was, I
she's
was like,
got this.
nice to be with you. Nice to meet you. It's awesome. He just took off. That's so great. I mean,
That
a
was
bad
really
boy,
cool, Gwen. That was
yeah,
really interesting. That's a side of me that has never been allowed to have a voice.
yeah. And I love it how he just left because bad boys don't hang around when they are not needed.
So true. Yeah, and they offer no apologies and no excuses.
Why? Yeah, why? Why have an excuse or an apology? That's so great. I love
That's
it.
so fun.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we could chat with your inner bad boy, right?
That's really neat. I've never experienced anything like that, but I I'll never forget how it felt to
Mm-hmm.
just have this strength of presence in my chest,
Mm-hmm.
like where I can speak from that place and be heard
Mm-hmm.
and be confident.
Yes. Kristi knows her inner bad boy. She has him. She has him here ready whenever he wants to. I think that's so great because that's what's called
Yeah,
inhabiting. You're inhabiting yourself in that way, right? You're inhabiting that aspect of you. And I
yeah.
love that. So thank you so much for doing that with me. I
Wow.
love that. I think sometimes when people think, oh my gosh, I'm going to speak from my inner bad boy, they're afraid, what's going to come up. But
Yeah.
but when we when we as humans decide, whatever's happening within me, I want it to be for my own good, and love is the center of it. When we open up to these things, sure, there may be at first maybe some sadness if the aspect has been ignored or has been in the shadows, or there may be some things that we get to listen to, but as these aspects develop and we play with them, like you've played with them in your books, they are true assets to us. They're aspects that can help us experience our true balance, our true wholeness. And so that's something that I love about the big mind work, is that really we're bringing ourselves into our wholeness more and more as we do it. So I love
Oh, I
that.
love that. Absolutely. Because we all have every archetype in existence. I think Carl Jung came up with a whole slew. But
Yes, many,
I
yeah.
mean, not like a ton, but I don't know, maybe 12, 16, something like that. That I think it's an aspect of our humanity that we
Yes,
all share. They're not stereotypes.
yeah,
They're part of what makes us human.
yeah,
And that is the bad boy is one of them.
yeah, definitely. I love that. Thank you, bad boy, for coming around.
Yeah,
I can use
that's
me
so
some bad
cool.
boy energy in me, so I'm going to touch into my bad boy. But before we leave, I wanted to check in with my guides to see if they wanted to channel something for us today. Is that
Oh,
cool?
great.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to enter in to channeling, taking a couple deep breaths. Dear guides, what do you have to express today as we end our meeting talking about bad boys?
Mhm.
All right. They say, yes, Gwen, we truly find this very entertaining. These these archetypes may be expressed in many different ways, and you have found your own delightful way to play with them. Of course, you will find other ways, just as when you are writing yourself. You can use this technique as you write to help you assess these certain aspects of your characters, and it may simply help your writing go smoother. So when you introduce a new character, you can ask them the specific archetypes that they are representing or that they are struggling with
Hmm.
in their life. And when they are struggling with an archetype, this is the shadow side of them that comes forward. And often, even when they do not realize it, what they fight against, they are bringing into life, bringing into life through their creative powers. This is something that, of course, we have spoken to you about, the power that you hold as a human on Earth right now. Many people are opening to their creative abilities, and you must, one says must, but we say you have the opportunity to see into the power that you truly have, and what you are focusing on and what you are denying, or the resistance that you hold against something, also helps create it and further in your life, continuing the cycle of the battle of the battle that often is seen in the duality of life. Some people call these polarities, but we say there is nothing that you have to say you must choose over another, except in your recognition that all is held in love. All gets to be played out in this field of love. As you recognize this field of love, anything may be transformed into what you truly desire. This is the essence of what Kristi writes about in her books, is this transformation that occurs within the field of love. As people access this field of love, this romantic sphere of love, then they see all that they are and see the possibilities of what they may create in their life. And they see a partner who truly will assist them in this creation and is a support in this endeavor. This is the ultimate idealization of romantic love in people's lives. And you and everyone here on this earth is now getting an opportunity to read transcript or to scribe a new story as far as love is concerned, one that honors all, one that sees deeply into each other's soul, one that sees a new way, a new life, one that isn't chained down to old society norms, one that shares love with all, that recognizes the abundance of the earth that we have and that we are living in. We suggest and we hope all who listen here recognize these things, recognize the opportunity to share love with all who they are connected with, to find new ways to share love, to honor each other, whether it is a simple touch of the hand, a simple nodding and saying, I don't know, but I love you, or simply saying, let's find out together what we can do. These are the ways of love, and we encourage you all in it. Thank you both for talking about these things, and even the archetype of the bad boy. For the bad boy truly is one who sees through the darkness. This is the power of the bad boy. He can see through the darkness, and if he is powerful enough and is able to hear the sound of love, he will walk through and meet the light. This is what we have to share. Oh, amen. There you go.
Oh, that was extraordinary.
There you go. I love my guides.
That's incredible. That was really mind-blowing. And it connected with my heart. Every word made so much sense, not just to my head, but to my heart. Like it resonated. That was beautiful.
Good. I'm so glad. I try to, and welcome to channeling, because this is welcome to channeling, to always have some kind of experience like that. But for me, even entering into the big mind process, to me, that's also channeling. It's a kind of channeling and a guided experience where we experience something beyond what we normally do as our persona, right?
Yes, yes, we all have that persona.
Yeah.
Just like the characters we write have their different layers and what they show the world versus what happens to the, what's going on internally. And we all certainly have that as well.
Well, I thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you,
And,
Gwen. This was lovely.
I hope that we all can touch base with our inner bad boys.
Yeah,
Let them have
love it.
voice. Let them find a way that they are serving us in our life. And I think when we do this, we can feel more fulfilled, right? There we go. Maybe that's my last final hurrah. And Kristi, I'm so excited that this book is coming out.
Thank you.
And I'll put more information for people to contact you. Please quickly tell us how to find you and get in contact with you.
Thank you again for listening and being part of this sharing about thoughts and ideas and writing and bad boys. And so my book, The Billionaires Dare, officially comes out April 2nd, but it should be up for pre-order before then and available. But the official release will be April 2nd. And that is available through all of the ebook retailers, Amazon, iBooks, Kobo, Nook, and Google Play. And then there's also another exciting anthology that I'll be in called The Trouble with Bad Boys. And I have a short story that will be there and published May 1st. And that will be on all of the ebook retailers too. So I'm super excited to be part of that anthology. More exploration of bad boys from, I believe it's 10 other authors that are part of that. So that's exciting too.
Perfect. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I'll make sure to have the links below. And of course, I'll talk to you soon. And I look forward to it. Love you, Kristi.
Love you, Gwen. You are amazing.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Welcome to Channeling. Till the next episode, Own your stage and play on.
Hot Muffin Media.